There is a certain kind of silence that exists before a hand generator begins to hum. It's not the silence of absence, but of potential, the pause between stillness and creation. When the handle turns, the copper begins to move, and a faint magnetic tension awakens, like breath entering an invisible body. In that gentle resistance lies the secret of the modern world, the same gesture that once turned Faraday's copper disk, that set Tesla's rotating fields into motion, and that made electricity not a commodity, but a living relationship between motion and space. The DC/AC hand generator educational kit may appear simple, a small motor, a coil, a display, and a handle. Yet it carries within it the distilled essence of a civilization's discovery, the conversion of mechanical motion into electrical potential. It's a return to something that humanity has almost forgotten, that electricity is not born from sockets or factories, but from geometry and motion, from the dance of fields made real through the touch of a human hand. In a world where power has become remote and digital, this small machine restores contact. It allows students, makers, and dreamers to feel again what electricity truly is. When you turn its handle and see the light awaken, you are not merely performing an experiment, you are repeating a gesture that shaped history. The same rotation that once powered the first laboratory dynamos still echoes here, smaller, safer, clearer, but alive with the same invisible fire. Long before we had screens and silicon, power was something tangible. The earliest experimenters did not plug things in, they spun them. They could feel the drag of the magnetic field, the way the metal fought back, the pulse that ran through the wire. In 1831, Michael Faraday discovered that when a conductor moves through a magnetic field, a faint current emerges, enough to deflect a compass, enough to prove that motion and magnetism were two sides of one invisible reality. That was the birth of electromagnetic induction, the quiet revolution that would soon light every city on Earth. Faraday saw the field not as empty space, but as a structured medium, an ocean of pressure and curvature. His lines of force were not poetic metaphors but direct expressions of how nature organizes itself. When you turn the hand generator today, you're tracing those same lines, feeling the same resistance, and watching the same principle unfold. It's a living inheritance, carried across centuries in the curve of a handle and the hum of a coil. After Faraday came others. Hippolyte Pixii in France replaced the copper disc with a rotating magnet and stationary coils, producing alternating current by hand. Then came Siemens, Graham, and the pioneers who turned those humble experiments into industrial dynamos. What began as curiosity became the heartbeat of the modern age. The little generator you hold in your palm is their descendant, a whisper of that first age of discovery, when light was something you earned with motion. And then came polarity, the great divide of the electrical world. In the late 19th century, Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla stood on opposite sides of a current that would define civilization. Edison's direct current was steady, mechanical, and stubborn. Tesla's alternating current was rhythmic, self-balancing, and alive. Their war of currents was more than a business rivalry, it was a philosophical conflict about the nature of energy itself. DC was order, linear and predictable. AC was harmony, oscillating and cyclic, a wave rather than a line. When you use this DC/AC educational generator and adjust its voltage, when you switch its polarity and watch the light shift, you are reliving that same drama in miniature. The knob becomes a kind of time machine, bringing you back to the moment when humanity learned that energy flows not just in one direction but in rhythmic exchange, motion, reversal, motion again. The generator teaches without words that polarity is not opposition but complement, the same way day and night define one another. This little hand crank device isn't a toy. It's a teacher, one that operates through touch instead of speech. It tells you that every pulse of current is the echo of emotion, that every flicker of light carries the memory of your own effort. Turn faster and the resistance grows, slow down and it softens. What you're feeling isn't friction but electromagnetic tension, a spring made of space itself. Start speech, end speech. In the early classrooms of the industrial age, such experiences were common. Students didn't just read about electromagnetism, they wound coils, built motors, and felt the drag of a field against their fingers. Learning was tactile, embodied, real. A century later, that intimacy has largely vanished behind screens and simulations. But with devices like this educational generator, it returns, the same way a forgotten melody returns when someone hums its first note. The adjustable output, from 2.5 to 10 volts, lets you experiment directly with the nature of potential. You can see how speed affects voltage, how polarity shifts the waveform, how current grows as resistance increases. Every turn of the handle is an experiment that bridges theory and experience. It's not about memorizing laws, it's about feeling them. And once you've felt them, you never forget. This kind of hands-on understanding is more than nostalgia, It's a rebirth of analog consciousness. In the hum of the generator, you rediscover something the digital world has hidden: that power is not an abstraction, but a conversation between matter and motion. Beneath every chip and transistor still flows the same sine wave that Faraday once drew by candlelight. Even the most advanced technology stands upon this foundation. To understand electricity, one must do more than measure it. One must engage with it, turn it, tune it, feel it push back. That's why the educational hand generator is more than a teaching aid, it's a ritual of rediscovery. When your hand turns the field, your muscles remember what your mind once forgot. You begin to sense that energy is not made but revealed, an interaction waiting for attention. Even in modern engineering, the principles you can observe here remain alive. The magnetic flux that bends and recombines in the generator's iron core is the same phenomenon that drives the motors of electric vehicles and wind turbines. Adjust the speed, and you feel the field push back, a graceful resistance, equal to your motion. What you are touching is the invisible geometry that powers everything from satellites to cities. Scale changes, principle does not. For some, that realization is deeply humbling. The field does not belong to us. We do not create it, we participate in it. When you turn a small generator by hand, you enter into the same communion that Faraday, Tesla, and Steinmetz once knew, the awareness that the universe is not inert, but responsive. You move, and it moves with you. That's why this little device matters. It restores the bridge between human motion and natural law. It teaches that understanding comes not through screens or simulations, but through direct contact with reality. The generator doesn't ask for memorization, it asks for curiosity, and in exchange, it gives you the rarest of all lessons: that power, in its truest sense, is not control but participation. The DC/AC hand generator is built with care to preserve that experience. The voltage can be tuned from 2.5 to 10 volts, offering safe, visible feedback. A digital display tracks your adjustments, while a simple LED glows to show that the invisible has become visible. Its motor is compact but strong, capable of being driven manually or electrically, allowing both physical and automated demonstration. Its circuits are open and labeled, inviting exploration. Nothing is hidden, nothing is mystified, because true science hides nothing. In classrooms, this little machine turns theory into a living event. In workshops, it becomes a seat of invention. For hobbyists and researchers, it serves as a tangible reminder that innovation is not born from abstraction, but from encounter, from seeing, touching, and wondering. You can trace each pathway of the circuit, follow the electrons as they move, and sense the balance between mechanical work and electrical response. It's the same balance that guided humanity's earliest encounters with power. From hand-cranked telegraph systems to the dynamos that lit early streets, the story of electricity is the story of motion finding meaning. The DC/AC hand generator is a small continuation of that lineage, a miniature echo of the industrial age's most profound experiments, refined for today's learners. What makes it remarkable is not its sophistication, but its humility. It doesn't pretend to do everything. It does one thing perfectly: it lets you experience the birth of electricity. It turns invisible equations into felt phenomena. It's the simplest of machines, and yet, within that simplicity, lies the architecture of the universe. In a time when education often happens behind screens, when energy comes from distant grids and faceless infrastructure, there's something almost sacred about producing your own voltage, even if it's only enough to light a small lamp. That little glow, born of your motion, carries the same truth that powered empires and shaped sciences: energy is everywhere, waiting to be engaged. When you grasp the handle and begin to turn, you are not merely operating a machine, you are participating in a lineage. You are repeating Faraday's gesture, Tesla's intuition, Steinmetz's patience. You are joining a conversation that spans centuries, between motion and magnetism, between curiosity and creation. Each rotation is a dialogue. The handle turns, the field responds. Voltage rises, light appears. There is resistance, not to stop you, but to teach you. In that resistance, you can almost hear the whisper of the field itself, that nothing in nature gives power freely, but everything in nature responds to sincere motion. The beauty of this small generator is that it makes the invisible visible without translation. You don't need words to understand it. The feedback comes through your hands, your eyes, your ears. You feel the hum, you see the glow, and in that moment, you know. It's a kind of knowledge that predates language, the kind the first experimenters must have felt when a compass needle twitched for the first time under their fingers. This is why the educational hand generator is not merely an accessory or gadget, but a key to re-enter the world as the early inventors saw it: alive, dynamic, interconnected. It's a reminder that the field never stopped turning, only we forgot how to feel it. And so, when the small light shines from your effort, you witness the same miracle that began nearly 2 centuries ago. A motion becomes a current, a field becomes a force, a simple act becomes a lesson in cosmic geometry. Every revolution of that handle is a conversation with history, the same rhythm that turned Faraday's copper disc, the same polarity that Tesla balanced in his oscillating fields, the same curiosity that has driven every experimenter since. In that sense, this little DC/AC generator is more than an educational model. It is a meditation device, a reminder that the universe answers motion with light. And in that exchange, we rediscover our place within it. So turn the field by hand, feel the resistance, the awakening, the quiet hum that bridges thought and action. Let the light appear, not as proof, but as presence. For in that small machine, in that simple act, lies the essence of all understanding. That power is not taken, but revealed, patiently, faithfully, by the hand that turns the field.